Hey guys, welcome back to Hungry Geeks. My name is Ethan the Guzman and belated happy holidays to you guys. Yep, let's welcome 2023 with a new video. So with this video, or our first video for the year, we checked out a smartphone that actually kind of impressed us from last year. And this is our first review of a Xiaomi smartphone here in Hungry Geeks. So this is the Xiaomi 12T Pro, the T series of Xiaomi that actually impresses a lot of consumers or its followers when it comes to providing top scale specifications for a very reasonable price. So this smartphone costs 37,990 pesos, but it has a lot of features that's really more of a mega spill. So you saw in the thumbnail, this has a 200 megapixel camera. Yep, 200 megapixel camera. But aside from that, it has Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, 120Hz refresh rate, and above full HD display, and even more dual speakers by Harman Kardon. There's just so much more. But does it really live up to the expectations? I'm going to show you right now some photos and of course my experience with this smartphone for the past month, that I really enjoyed the experience from the Xiaomi 12T Pro. Of course, that's not without its hiccups as well. So I'm going to show you this one right now. Before we start, I'm going to run down the specifications of this Xiaomi 12T Pro. This is a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, not Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, meaning it has improved cooling technology compared from its predecessor, plus a little bit more improvement on the performance side. 12 gigabytes of RAM at 1220p. Yep, you might heard it for the first time, but not 1080p, 1220p in terms of resolution on an AMOLED display that has HDR 10 plus, high refresh rate up to 120 Hz, and I could talk about so much more, but the main focus on this smartphone is really on the optics. This is a 200 megapixel smartphone plus 8 megapixel ultra wide plus 2 megapixel macro. So all of these are just in terms of specs, not to mention the 5000 milliampere battery with 120 watts charging. Yep, guys, look at the brick charger of this one. It's almost as big as the smartphone. Okay guys, now that I've given you the overall specifications of the Xiaomi 12T Pro, let's give a rundown, or perhaps your major question will be, Isan, is the 200 megapixel camera will really benefit me? My answer is, it depends on the situation. Honestly, I really like the 200 megapixel camera here, but it's a love and take in some certain scenarios. So I'm going to give you more or less a live rundown right now, or a real-time rundown. I pre-selected some photos that were taken by the Xiaomi 12T Pro and give you more of a rundown. What I mean here is, this is really a live preview of my impressions. So this is a photo of opposite over the holidays, of course. Here you can see that the foreground, or the background is a little, sorry, the background is a little bit blurry already, and focus here on the main subject. But the main concern here is that you taken this photo on a diagonal angle. Most of the details for the main object is already preserved. As you can see, even the crispiness of the item, even the squid or the meal itself is really good. Don't worry, that's not hair, guys. This is not hair. It's more on the squid. But as you can see on the next squid, which is a little bit more prominent on the front, the focus already left out. This is because of the lens of the Xiaomi 12T Pro. It has just one object to focus on, but it has that kind of highlight and also details, more from a perspective artist in terms of having that kind of system in its AI as well to highlight, especially when you activate the AI mode and detects food. Next is a photo of my setup. So this is my current setup right now. It might be a little bit of inception for you guys, but against a harsh detailed light here from my main display and also secondary display, the actual focused one, it was still able to capture most of the light, especially in details here on the items on the background, and that's the most important part for me. keeping the level of details important, whether it's flat or not. So that's one of the advantage that I saw here on the Xiaomi 12T Pro. So having that kind of distinction when it comes to the level of details, regardless in terms of it's the foreground or background. Sometimes it might play around with the AI technology, but overall, the level of details here from the contrast and also for the colors, and plus having that long exposure mode for the night mode, was able to compose majority of the colors correctly. What you see in this photo is actually the real lights on my room. Next is a very challenging photo. This is the new Xiaomi store on BGC or in BGC. So as you can see here, it might be a regular photo of a night photo, but this is what the eye sees. Honestly, this Xiaomi logo was shouting so bright that it was very challenging against other phones. So I did a night mode photo here, and the exposures for correcting and capturing a lot of frames from the highest exposure from the lowest exposure was able to correctly capture the Xiaomi logo here and what's inside the store. So mind you guys, in terms of the exposure levels, if there's one object within the composition that's really shouting out, like a spotlight, it will ruin your photo already. But here I was able to do so nicely. So even on this kind of weather, it's raining and also very challenging in terms of the lights. It's against the light actually. So I was able to take a photo of the Xiaomi store, Xiaomi logo properly. So thumbs up to that one. Next is one of the photos that I actually like. This is a night photography in Serendera as well. Before, I had some encounters of overexposure or too much of composition of colors from the 12T Pro, but they adjusted the software to a software update, and I was able to take this very beautiful photo of the Serendera staircase going to the parking lot and going up. So as you can see here, the blue light emitting from the accent lights was really nice, and even from the Christmas lights was able to do so individually without any overexposure. So I really believe that this is a good night photography smartphone as well. Next, this is a regular photo of taking the night in a skyline over a rooftop bar. So it's really nice to see, as you can see here, a lot of traffic going home from people from the business district, but here you can see more of the condominiums in terms of lighting. Each and every one has their own story to tell, and the overall composition here is just really nice, all while still capturing the level of details for here on the sky. I think this is really a good photo. Why? It's more of the level of details and light that you capture in each and every window. Most of the smartphones, even on entry-level smartphones, if you take a photo on this one, this will just really just the light without the fluorescent light, without the tiny details inside. But here, you can even see the difference between the warm color from the upper floor, from the lower floor, if it's warmer, if it's better, or what kind of upholstery they have in terms of the floor. So you might ask, what's going on in this room? We may never know. Next is a photo of a paella. It's really nice. Honestly, this one really hits the spot in terms of composition and taking a photo. Guys, as you can see here, in terms of the shrimp, all of the detail is intact. I honestly want to eat the paella. So here is the lemon, the shrimp, and of course we have some clams. The overall composition is great. The level of details, even on the olives, is nice. And the exposure level is quite on the, let's say, on the bright side, on the cool side. But in terms of overall photo, even on the clamshells, the level of details is pristine. What I do want to say here is that The sensor might have a little bit of bias in terms of composition towards the bright or dark exposure, but in terms of color, it's a little bit lackluster. I'll give you reasons why. The paella is already yellow, but you can see a lemon shouldn't be this one. A lemon should be a little bit more yellow. So the AI, I think, should have a little bit more of detection in terms of what kind of item it is, or perhaps a little bit more kick into the colors, because this is food. When you upload something, Facebook degrades the quality, and of course that's your moment that might not be that powerful. So honestly, for me, I'll adjust the overall photo before I upload it, kick up the saturation perhaps 10%, and revitalize the lemons on this one here. So this is my neighbor's cat. As you can see, for a 200 megapixel mode captured on daylight, it was able to capture the cat really nicely on the level of details, on the ears, on the face. Of course, it starts to degrade here in terms of quality because that's the background, but look at the tongue. The level of details here is captured well while still preserving the details here. So this one has very good quality of level of details. The colors are right, the exposures are right, and honestly, it's just a right moment of taking the photo where this is really nice. But let's go to the same cat on a different situation. Here you go. Honestly, this is a little bit challenging for the Xiaomi 12T Pro on a bright environment. In terms of the overall compositions, the brightness on the exposure levels here is just way too off, and it had a hard time in terms of focusing. So the only focus item here is actually the sidewalk, not the cat. So I think Xiaomi can still improve on this one in terms of overall software updates in detecting items. And if it's really black on black, or like this one, the color should have adjusted as well. Dusty is one of the subjects that I think is challenging in terms of taking a photo. Why? Because he's completely gray. So shout out to Carlo as well in terms of Carlo Play, in terms of Dusty, for letting him take a photo of Dusty. The details here are really nice. His face is focused, his legs is focused. He's completely gray while sitting on a very dark sofa. So indoor lighting, capturing him or Dusty in terms of the overall details here is pristine. So for me, the best photos that I should commend for Xiaomi, it will be really this one, Dusty, and probably these four. So in terms of night photography, indoor photography, and some a little bit of a daytime photography, but with proper exposure and also broad daylight, I think these four photos are the best in terms of overall photos that I got for the past month using the Xiaomi 12T Pro. Alright, so let's go to more on the other performances or other aspects of the Xiaomi 12T Pro. Alright, to close up, I would just like to explain a little bit more of an explainer. How did Xiaomi squeeze in this great smartphone for 12,990 pesos? Honestly, I'm really amazed to it. I'm going to give you a little bit more pointers of why. First, of course, is their profit margin are really thin. Yep, it's really razor thin. As compared to other manufacturer brands of smartphones, they don't tend to profit for each and every smartphone that they sell. It's really more of the sales of afterwards. If you are in the Xiaomi ecosystem, you're going to join the Xiaomi ecosystem as well on their smart home. As you can see in my house right now in the studio, I have a lighting system. I have air purifiers here from the Xiaomi that I can just activate via the Xiaomi Home app. So it's really nice as well on that part. Next is procurement, meaning how to get a bulk of the parts. If you get more parts in terms of per batch. That's really more on the commitment side for the procurement of Xiaomi. They'll be able to squeeze in more dollars and more savings passed on to you. So that's really nice for Xiaomi. I really commend that. Plus, I think for 37,990, having a 200 megapixel experience, that's really amazing already. That's one experience that no other smartphone brands can give or deliver right now because they are the first. So it's really adapting to the first dibs in terms of a new technology, and for here a 200 megapixel experience with all of the other perks from the processor, better display, better charging, and that humongous 120 watts charging. Honestly, this is a real package phone. I really liked it. There's just a little bit more of a takeaway for the learning curve in terms of taking photos. Honestly, if Xiaomi is able to take care of that in terms of a software update, this is really solved for me. This is a good smartphone, an unbeatable smartphone for 37,990 pesos. Alright, so thank you so much guys for watching this video. Hope you liked it, and comment down below your impressions and also in any questions in terms of my experience for the Xiaomi 12T Pro. If you have any questions, just shoot down a question and give us a thumbs up if you like this video as well. Make sure you subscribe to Hungry Geeks, and also check out our website www.hungrygeeks.com.ph and follow us on our social media channels. So with that, thank you so much and belated Happy New Year again. Bye guys!